The 25th of July was a royal occasion. Mr. Narin Bevan, MP for Ebbw Vale, and Miss Jenny Lee were among the first of many distinguished guests to arrive at the Glencoid Secondary School to welcome the royal visitor. They were followed by Mr. Cedric Thomas, General Manager of Ebbw Vale Steelworks, and his wife. Sir Ernest Lever, Chairman of Richard Thomas and Baldwins, and Lady Lever graced this assembly of VIPs. His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh was escorted by the Chairman of the Urban District Council, Councillor E.T. Parsons, and the Lord Lieutenant of Monmouthshire, Lord Raglan. Awaiting the Duke was a schoolgirl who presented him with a buttonhole, symbol of welcome to this thriving town of steel and tinplate. After a few friendly words, the Duke entered the school to have lunch with the civic dignitaries and other guests before changing into Field Marshal's uniform. It was now the town's turn to see the royal visitor. Despite the downpour, spirits were not dampened as the crowds cheered the Duke on his way to visit the new Hilltop housing estate and a centre for old age pensioners. On his return, the crowds were still waiting, their patience rewarded by a second glimpse of the Duke on his way to a big parade at the town welfare ground. Here the citizens of Ebbw Vale were arriving in their hundreds to see the Duke, in place of Her Majesty, present new colours to the 1st Battalion, the South Wales Borderers, and the 2nd Battalion, the Monmouthshire Regiment. The parade begins with the arrival of Lieutenant General Sir Otway Herbert, the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Western Command. The massed bands of the two regiments parade. The old regimental colours are trooped through the ranks for the last time. Now His Royal Highness arrives and is greeted by Sir Otway Herbert. He is then presented to the Colonel of the regiments, Major General F.R.G. Matthews. This is followed by an inspection. The Duke occasionally stops to question soldiers, showing his usual interest in people. The regiments now march past. The old colours are marched off parade. The new colours are laid on piled drums. His Royal Highness now presents the new colours to each battalion in turn. Both regiments are justifiably famous throughout the army. Names such as Blenheim, Salamanca, Peninsula, Mons, Ypres, Normandy, Burma, and the Rhine figure on their battle honours. Now the new colours march to positions with their respective regiments. The Duke now leaves the parade and is taken to the Lever Hall, where refreshments are awaiting the officers and their guests. Mr. and Mrs. Cedric Thomas receive the royal visitor. At the same time, other guests arrive with officers from the parade who are to be presented to the Duke. This royal visit will go down not only in the annals of these battalions, but also in the hearts of the townsfolk of Ebbw Vale and the steelworks employees who turned out to welcome this very popular member of the royal family.